Hello everyone. Welcome back to a new Decoding Markets. I am Shubhajit and today we are honored to have with us Mr. Experienced trader and strategist with deep insights into trends and markets. Together, we will analyze the trend and financial landscape right now. So let's get started to a new episode. Uh, Hello. Am I
Oh yeah, yeah. Your network is terrible as usual. Uh,
just give me a moment. Just give me a moment.
I think you should permanently switch to something for these sessions.
Hello.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah. So welcome back to a new episode, sir.
yes. Pleasure to be here.
So it's the year like week end, and we just gone through your long short report. Also, there have been some ups and downs in the market. It's been a week of mixed emotions. So what would you say? And what's your take on the upcoming week? How it's
The
gonna be?
market, the market's been up for every day of the week. So I don't know what the mixed emotions are all about. I think the mixed emotions are because it didn't go up more than people would have wanted.
Right.
I mean, that could be the only logic. Every day we have closed higher than the previous day. This is now 8th consecutive positive day in the market. If this goes on for a while, it will soon become a record of sorts.
What's your take on the upcoming week, sir? How the scenario is
And
could
one
be?
week is too short a time period for me, but I am considering that the overall trend is up. The only hurdle is 25,160. That is going to be, that's around 61% retracement of the entire fall that we have seen from the June top. So 61.8% retracement is going to be the key hurdle to watch. Once we get past that, then it should be a one-way ride to all-time highs. I mean, that's what I think.
So keeping this in mind, let's move to my first question for today's episode. Is with the Nifty facing resistance at around 25,160 level and Sensex closing higher due to easing trade tensions, what are the current technical indicators and patterns suggesting for short-term market directions?
So the daily RMI is bullish. The swing is not yet overbought. I don't think I have any sentiment indicator which is overbought right now. So they are all sort of rising. The put call ratio is rising with the market. Uh, so in general, the trend is just looking positive if we just go by any of the near term technical indicators. If we go a little wider, we go to the weekly time frame. Yes, that will take a little while because we fell for 2 consecutive months. That got the weekly RMI pull back all the way to zero last week, and it's just beginning to pick up. So on the weekly chart, it might not give us a buy signal right away. It could take a week or two before that happens. So there's always some lag there if the speed is high. Uh, but yeah, the daily short-term indicators are still positive.
Moving to the second question, what does a bearish weekly RMI for the Nasdaq 100 typically indicates, and why does it not always results in an immediate trend reversal, as discussed in the India Charts article that you have published on around September 9th?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question. And I'll move to the weekly Nasdaq chart just to show what I'm saying. There's a tendency for markets when they're very strong in a particular direction. There's a tendency for them to develop some negative divergences before you actually see a trend reversal. So here, when we actually looking at this, weekly chart and we see the bearish crossover, the question is, should this fall right away, or can it stretch to the upper Bollinger Band and then only come off? And then we try to look historically what is the case. So historically, if you see the sell signal here, you don't see an immediate sell off. You see the market attempting to go up a couple of times before it actually pulls back. And this is something you find at least 80% of the time. Like here, also you see prices going up even as the RMI is headed down. Sometimes you may get something like this, which is sort of V-shaped up and then down. But in more often than not, you will find that after a reversal, prices still continue to trend higher. Like back here, they did pull back a bit, but they went much higher before you got another further selling here, and then it still extended on the overall trend for months together. So the second thing that we try to judge is how big is this going to be? Is it going to be just this big, like a small correction back to the weekly averages, or is it going to be something deeper than that? So therefore, you need some additional analysis here to be able to take that call. All we can say at this point of time, based on behavior, is that it doesn't happen immediately. Even if it immediately will bounce right back, then again, so you see a lot of moves before even if it has to correct somewhat. So you have to be prepared for that, and that brings us back to doing things like counting the waves, and trying to figure out whether Elliott wave theory can tell us the end point in some way. Or alternately, you can further look up the higher time frame. In fact, here, even on the higher time frame, the same thing is happening. If we go to the monthly chart, you notice it gave us a sell signal here. There was a sharp sell off, but again, it's higher, and this is sort of developing a kind of negative divergence. So that was the main point.
Got it, sir. So let's move to the next one. It's with the PSU bank. It's also with a reference with one of your published article. So based on the 10th September analysis on the Nifty PSU bank index, how is the continuation of the higher high and higher low structure expected to influence index trajectory? And what is the projected target for upcoming wave, or that is wave three, as per the current technical outlook?
So the PSU bank index has held its own. Okay, we haven't seen it lose too much in this time period. And in doing so, like you mentioned, we've made a series of higher highs now, higher lows. Now, what does that mean? We bottomed here, then we moved up. We made a higher bottom here, then we moved up. We made a higher bottom here, and then we moved up. So every time it has gone up and pulled back, gone up and pulled back. The subsequent pullback is to a higher bottom. Basically, that's the point. And it moved up here. Then this range is not broken. You've seen it come back many times, taking support here, but it is holding this. Now it is making one more attempt to go up. There's a good chance it might attempt higher highs simply because we've gone past this falling trend line over here. Okay, so this resistance has been crossed, I think, yesterday, and today it's pulled back to test it, but we haven't gone below it. We are just closed on top of the trend line. So my sense is that it will attempt to move higher from this higher bottom. So in classic Dow theory, a series of higher highs and higher lows is essentially a definition of a trend. And in this case, the trend is up because you're making higher highs, not lower highs. If you're making lower highs and lows, you'd say the trend is down. So that's classic Dow theory in play, that the broader trend is up. We can apply this, of course, to shorter time periods also, but the idea here was to really understand the bigger picture scenario. And since you mentioned, in the immediate picture, these are a series of first waves. We will see a series of third waves unfold later on, which is like multiples like this, like several up moves and pullbacks, up then back, then up then back, and it will go on like that till we actually complete a 5-wave sequence, right? So when we complete a larger 5-wave sequence is when we'll say this particular move is over. But right now it has a long way to go. I mean, the next important level, as you're asking, would be the midpoint of this rising channel. This is somewhere around 9,000 on the PSU Bank Index, and the best case scenario can even be the top end of the channel. So we can even say that eventually it might end up somewhere up here, 12, 13,000 on the index, but not now. It could be a 1 year, 2 year kind of path for it to go as far as that is concerned. But we'll track this pattern of higher highs, lows to essentially stay on the right side of this trend.
Got it, sir. And so that's all. Keeping this question crisp and short. So these were my three questions for today. And moving forward, we'll take some questions from the viewers. So viewers, you can just place your questions and let's get going. So regarding the market, that is the current scenario of the market. What do you think? Making positions is a good option now, or should we wait for some more time? As we can see that the market is at almost all-time high. What do you say?
Uh, so there is no trend reversal yet, and uh, for the next trade, we want to see this breakout above 25,160. It might be nice to see whether the market reverses trend from here or simply consolidates over here. If it simply consolidates below 25,160, then there's a good chance it will eventually break out to higher levels. Now, remember, in the very short term, there is an important global event, which is the US FOMC meeting coming up next week, which will be releasing its decision on Wednesday night. And one of the reasons global markets are moving up is in anticipation that another round of rate cuts is going to kick in. And the view seems to be becoming pretty strong on that. Tonight, there's going to be CPI inflation data coming out of the US. Earlier in the week, we had PPI inflation. Now you have CPI inflation, and that will sort of be the basis on which markets are going to bet on the idea that rate cuts are coming. Maybe not just one, but maybe two or three, if not into the year end, into early 2026. So that rate cutting cycle is going to be a driver for the move here, at least from a global perspective. Now, will India simply move along with the world higher finally? Because we've actually diverged for 2 months. We have not really participated in what ended up being one of the best global rallies because of tariffs.
Right.
But tariffs should be discounted. And if the last few days messaging that is coming out of the two governments is correct, then hopefully we will get a deal of some kind in the weeks ahead. That is, better than where we are right now. So everything said, things can only turn more positive than negative. So definitely, there's a reason to buy. But like I said, if you have missed the last 400-500 points, just see whether you're breaking out beyond 25,160 or consolidating below it before you really take that call.
Got it, sir. So let's move towards the questions asked by our viewers. Moving to the first question is from Rajeshri.
How is the Nifty capital market sector looking on the charts? Now, yeah, capital market is a specific sector, and it has very little historical data. And so the only way I would be able to judge is taking up stock specific charts. But on the limited data that I'm seeing, we have actually gone past the high that we made in December. I don't know whether September high is surpassed or not. And it looks like a good move up. So I don't think the momentum for the capital market sector is over or can be over till the bull market is over, right? So this is the whole point. It's a very simple question, but capital market is the center of gravity. You cannot have the center of gravity shifted unless the bull market has ended. Okay, so this is the weekly chart of the capital market index. Simply put, on the weekly chart, I can come up with a wave count for the available data. Okay, which may look like this, and then I may have had a correction as well in ABC. Okay. No, it's not a perfect C because maybe the 3 and 1 and 3 are overlapping and all. It could be a more complex pattern like WXY if I go into the daily chart. But broadly speaking, we've seen a correction. It's possible that we've seen the bottom as well. If not, worst case, what will happen? Worst case, you'll get one last dip and then pick up. But should be fine. I mean, you should be getting closer to starting another 5-wave advance from here.
Moving to the next question, sir. It's from Twitter.
Microfinance NBFCs. In general, NBFCs are good on a rate cycle. I think they already outperformed on the initial rate cuts between Jan and March. I think another round of buying may have started already. You've seen NBFCs starting to outperform last week. So the next round of move in NBFCs should be on the cards.
Moving to the next question, sir.
The metal index very similar to what we just saw in the 1 second. In the capital market index, but this of course has more data. So here we are looking at from the April lows, we can see a 5 waves up, and then we've seen a consolidation which almost looks like a triangle, and then we are seeing a further breakout of that. So if we are breaking out of that, we should be looking at the third wave going much higher, if not just equal to how big the first wave was. I would draw a channel expected to go to 11,000 or something next. Even the weekly RMI has turned positive this week. So these are the leading parts of the market, right? Where you've already seen outperformance breakout. They're higher than where we were in June.
So we have a comment. It's not a question. So
Thanks, Mahesh, and I hope that resonates with everybody. That's the whole reason we built it. These are indicators that I'd been using and managing on Excel sheets for 2 decades, and we finally thought it's worth making it public and making it useful for everybody to be able to do what we've been able to do. So I'm really happy to hear that. Thank you.
So we have one more question. It's regarding the results.
I don't really have a result view. I mean, we don't really do that earnings numerical analysis. I try to study charts and then see whether it fits the fundamentals. If it does, if a company is growing, we presume that the charts are telling us something that it will continue to grow. If it fails, then of course it will break down. But that's the type of bet you want to take. I mean, so I don't really try to predict beyond that.
So we are going for the last question for today's. We have surpassed the number of 3 questions.
Are we in the start of a wave 5 for defense? Yeah, it's an interesting question. It looks like on many charts that you're in wave 5 of something, but there are some charts where the third wave is shorter, which can sometimes also mean that you're not just in 5, this is going to extend beyond that to 9. For those who don't know the principle of extension, so sometimes you're just in the, what do you think is 3 and 4 is just the starting of the third wave. If that is true, then it goes on longer. So that is something we will not know right away. We can simply judge that, okay, it's 5th, but unless it really breaks down from there, or the bull market comes to an end, because defense is one of the bull market sectors of this cycle. It may not really peak that easily.
So that's all for today, sir. These were the questions. So I will thank everyone for joining today's live session. We will continue the live session after a week's time, because the next week we will be in Goa hosting the event, our annual mentorship event. So we will be meeting you guys after a week's time. So thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, sir. It was a great session. Thank you.
5 days and 6 nights of
Goa,
brainstorming.
right? And that is continue brainstorming from morning till
Absolutely.
night.
Absolutely. This is the
Yes,
fifth year of doing this consecutively.
yes.
Third time in Goa. We've done Lonavala and Jaipur last year. Hope to do
Mm,
more different locations than just the few, but it's just great to interact one on one than what we do just online. So yeah, looking forward to meeting all the people there,
right.
including yourself.
So I will be there. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining.
Thank you.